In the markets, rice production getting a little punch in the right direction, both nationwide and in the Mid-South.
That's right, and other commodities, Mike, also in our market headlines this week, cotton producers deal with lower prices. Traders warn that there is no upside for corn and other grains, while feeder cattle prices are holding up well due to lower feed cost. Extension's Emeritus Ag economist O.A. Cleveland says the cotton market has been in the doldrums ever since that August 10th supply-demand report came out, with, as he put it, bear tracks all over it. But as we record this edition of Farm Week, cotton merchants are anticipating good things to emerge from the China-U.S. trade talks, the preliminary talks now underway through Thursday. DTN reports that if these talks go well, there's a high probability President Trump and the President of China will meet in November to sign a new trade deal. But then again, the talks may not go well. Well, that big ag supply-demand report we mentioned earlier this month that put cotton in the doldrums also contained a surprise for the corn market. The big U.S. crop, it's getting bigger. Extension's Josh Maples tells us how this news takes away any hope of more upside for corn prices.
Projected production per acre up to 178, over 178 bushels per acre. This was up about 4 bushels compared to the same estimate a month ago. This would be a record production per acre, and this drove to an increase in projected ending stocks and more corn out there on the market. Similar story to soybeans. We just saw we're seeing those great growing conditions lead to really high expected yields.
Is there going to be too much corn out there given these numbers if they hold true? Is that going to hurt the market?
There's going to be a lot of corn and soybeans too, for that matter. But it's also an environment where it's hard to see a lot of price upside, just giving the large expected supplies that we see. Corn prices are relatively low right now, but with the larger supplies, there's not a lot to suggest that we're going to see a big run up.
Larger supplies of rice are also being forecast for this year, primarily because planted acreage is up. Ag economist Larry Falconer in Stoneville says Mississippi rice acreage is up about 23% compared to a year ago. The total is about 150,000 acres. The good news is that rice exports are also projected to be up about 8% from 2017. As Falconer puts it, we depend on exports to carry the ball for rice. Well, as we approach the end of August, let's make a quick check of crop progress in the state of Mississippi, beginning with corn. 69% of the crop, it's said to be in good to excellent condition as of last Sunday. Mississippi cotton is doing even better. 73% of the crop is described as good to excellent. Meanwhile, pasture conditions are not quite as robust. 71% of the peanuts, meanwhile, are in good condition, and 76% of the state's rice is listed good to excellent. Turning to soybeans, 70% of the crop is good to excellent, and 61% of Mississippi sweet potatoes are in good to excellent condition. We move from lots of numbers to our trivia quiz here on Farm Week. Our question, it's about producing ethanol from corn, which is then blended with gasoline. Here's the question: what state has the most ethanol plants in the U.S.? Is the answer A, Iowa, B, California, C, Nebraska, or D, Illinois? We'll have the answer for you coming up. We begin the second half of the markets with aquaculture, where pondback fish prices for catfish remain below $1 per pound for premium-sized fish. These numbers reflect the U.S. market in the month of July. Farm sales totaled just over 27 million pounds round weight. That is up 10% from this time in 2017. Processor sales were 13 million pounds, an increase of a little more than 1.5% from 1 year ago. The chatter leading up to the new trade negotiations between the U.S. and China this week only served to fuel an already volatile hog market. Lean hog futures were showing 65 to 75 cent losses in the front months Tuesday afternoon after being sharply higher back at the weekend. But earlier in the month, things were really bad.
What's the word for a nosedive in hogs? Perhaps it's a snout dive. I mean, it's just going down and down and down. You see the actual cash market going down 40, 60 cents every day. the index going down $1 a day, and the futures just have to follow that cash news. However, they have pulled back, 25%, and it could be a scenario like soybeans where the market pulls back because of tariffs news. So it could be that the futures market pulls back to a certain price and decides that we've priced in the tariff news, and maybe it can form a bottom and bounce back up, just like soybeans did.
The cattle complex is dealing with some uneven price action as well. DTN's John Harrington says it's due to uncertainty surrounding late summer beef supply and demand. However, cheap grain is helping the feeder cattle market some, according to trader Tom Fitzenmeyer.
That market tends to be driven quite a bit by feed costs, and feed costs are obviously down quite a bit with corn as cheap as it is. So I think those are going to hold on up fairly well. And again, I think the beef fat price is probably going to hang in there for. I don't see it falling apart, but I just would sell rallies.
Back to the trivia quiz now to close out the markets for this week. Our question had to do with making fuel ethanol from corn. And the answer is A. The state of Iowa has the most ethanol plants in the U.S. Iowa's 41 ethanol plants produce about 19% of all U.S. ethanol production.